Everyone at the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Fund wishes we were in Ohio right now with the wall that heals as we had planned. We know that our in-memory families in Ohio are disappointed that they won't be able to see their honorees' photos on display. But we didn't want to let the opportunity pass to remember our in-memory honorees from Ohio, so we've put together this photo display with our traditional reading of the names. John Agston, John Ehlers, Gail Alden, Dale Anderson, Mark Ardelian, James Ascente, Wayne Bachtel, Stephen Bacon, Philip Badger, William Baker, John Ball, Thomas Balliot, Ted Balliot, James Baltrus, Lawrence Bartow, Michael Beaverson. Danny Bennett, Raymond Berling, Stephen Bloxham, Robert Boley, Ralph Bolin, James Bronny, Peter Brown, Richard Buccilli, Roy Chambers, Ronald Chapman, Carl Christie, James Clark, Paul Clausen, John Clifford III, Irvin Collins, William Bill Cooney. James Cossier, Roger Courtney, Richard Cree, Merlin Crippen, Robert Cup McKenna, Charles Dabney, Edward Daniel, Michael Dirth, Jerry Degnan, Nicholas Denman, Daniels Dennis Sr., Joseph DeGenova, Neil Dixon, Herman Downs, Paul Dunn, Michael Engler. Lawrence Evans, Dennis I., Norman Fayhour, Harold Farver Sr., John Fegan, Robert Freeman, Joseph Gagliardo, Dale Geary, Paul Gladden, Louis Gordon, James Grandy, Melvin Green, John Grounds, Gerald Grismala, Thomas Harmon, Roy Harris. Gary Hasselbeck, Larry Hatcher, Samuel Hatton, Edward Hayes, William Heggie, James Hine, Charles Hingsteller, Paul Hensley, Harold Higgs, Gerald Hyman, Brian Hill, Willard Hines, James Hood, John Ignash, Robert Irwin, James Jansen. Robert Jark, Thomas Johnson, Marshall Johnson, John Johnson, George Johnson III, Donald Caberline, John Keefe, Kenneth Kekich, Irvin Kessler, Robert Kidwell, Gary King, Charles King, Virginia Kirsch, Jerry Klein, Keith Nepler, Roger Cahoot. Peter Krause, Ronnie Krause, David Lockey, Kenneth Lambert, Frederick Lance, James Lang, Ronald Lawrence, Elmer Lawrence, Mark Leverton, Adam Legg, Jimmy Lindeman, Daniel Lindsay, Lance Lockhart, Richard Lokar, Robert Lyon, Terry Malone. Donald Mann, Danny Mather, Anthony Matola, Ronald McCarty, George McClellan, George McComeski, Johnny McDonald, Michael McLean, Barry McQuaid, Harold Meese, Robert Michaels, Stanley Mills, Joseph Mingus, Terry Mitchell, James Mogan, David Morris. James Morsey, Alan Murphy, James Murphy, Dale Musoff, Todd Needles, James Nieves, John Noss, Patrick O'Donnell, Andrew Papp, Dennis Patterson, James Patton, William Peacock, Thomas Perry, Clyde Peters, Mario Petiti, Dean Phillips. Timothy Plaskett, William Pletcher, Robert Plicka, Ricky Ray, George Raymond, Robert Red, Melvin Rebels, Stephen Rice, Paul Riddlebarger, Rodney Risch, Max Rittenauer Jr., Gerald Roberts, Raleigh Robinson, Robin Rogers, Roger Rawlings, John Rood. James Roos, Robert Ross, Michael Rossler, Robert Sanders, Gary Sass, Ralph Salm, William Sawchick, Richard Saylor, David Scarano, Roger Scherer, Anthony Scalacci, Ronald Schmidt, Courtney Scrone, William Short, John Schaff, Raymond Sirianni. Danny Skirvin, William Smeal, David Smith, John Soxey, Gerald Spath, Michael Staub, Donald Staley, Junior Stark, Emil Stoss, Alan Stern, William Stewart, Russell Steiteller, Randolph Straka, David Tangeman, Thomas Thies, Michael Tremmel. James Turnbull, James Tyson, Michael Vandenand, Keith Vandegrift, Ralph Vaughn, Jerry Vanette, Robert Wagner, Donald Walton, Everett Warwicks, Douglas Webster, Alvina West, Louis Westerberg, Dale Williams, Robert Williamson, John Williamson, Tommy Wilson. Woodrow Wilson, Kenneth Wiseman, David Woodruff, David Young, William Zinzewski Jr., John Zell, James Zimmerman. VVMF's In Memory program honors those who served in Vietnam, returned home, and later died. A ceremony is held each year on the site of the Vietnam Veterans Memorial in Washington, D.C., to induct new veterans into the In Memory Honor Roll. To learn more or to nominate your Vietnam veteran to be honored for their service and sacrifice, please visit our website.